entire family in Houston and Portsmouth, especially from your sister Julie London in Houston. Wishing you a great day today, alright? Ferris London out there in Chance, Portsmouth. Happy birthday to you, my good friend.
Même si nous pas bien gentils, ça qui est rangé dans des jours, on nous change pour s'en dire. C'est le moins fort, il peut encore, moi laissez-vous, pour moi l'amour. C'est le moins fort, il peut encore, moi laissez-vous.
DBS, the nation's #1.
Time check in the studios of DBS Radio, the nation station. It's 6 o'clock. It's time to bring you the evening news right here on your nation station.
Fair and balanced, unbiased and clear, concise and accurate. This is the DBS Evening News. Here now is your presenter with the headlines.
In the headlines, Sinico Primary topped the second leg of the first round of the National Reading Competition. In news from the region, Cuba's president says the country will be ready for possible U.S. attack amid Donald Trump threats. And internationally, a 10-day Israel-Lebanon ceasefire has begun. Good evening, I am Leila Langford. Details of the news when we return.
The DBS Radio, Felix Henderson, Ministry of Education, National Reading Competition, headline sponsored by Dragon Windows, is on Friday, April 17 at the Baroness Patricia Scotland School. Join us for Leg 3 of Round 1. The schools competing are St. John's Primary, Roosevelt Douglas Primary, Savon Pie Primary School, Dubla Primary, Penville Primary, Baroness Patricia Scotland Primary, Thibault Primary, and the Calibishi Primary School. Join us at the venue or listen on radio. You can also view on the social media platforms of Facebook and YouTube, or watch the event live on Digicel Channel 50. Reading and literature. It's on DBS Radio. Felix Henderson, Ministry of Education, National Reading Competition, headline sponsored by Dragon Windows.
DBS News.
Welcome back. Defending champions of the DBS Radio, Felix Henderson, Ministry of Education, National Reading Competition, Sinico Primary, ranked number 1 in the second leg of the first round of the National Reading Competition. 7 schools participated in this afternoon's competition, which took place at the Monjan Primary School. 5 students will advance to the next round.
At number 5, we have Ruth Williams of Dalis. So we're going up to number 4, Candy Hadassah Barry of Castlebrush Primary. Number 3, Rodiez Brancott of Atkinson Primary. Number 2, we have Vinetta Thomas, Sansove Primary School. Number 1, Kaylani Valmon of the Sineku Primary School.
Master of Ceremony, Gael Trilogy, John Baptist. Meantime, Chief Judge of the National Reading Competition, Paula Duran, had this to say about the competition.
You want to do English? We read. Even maths. Because when you look at maths and the failure in maths, most times the failure is not because the child cannot do maths. It's because they cannot understand what they are reading. For you to understand, you must know how to read. Every subject we do at school, you must know how to read. So I am encouraging, asking, appealing, begging if necessary, that schools, our primary schools, you put a little more emphasis on reading. Do not wait for March to start for the competition in April. Start even from September the year before, or even before. As soon as we finish now, get the next set.
Chief Judge of the National Reading Competition, Paula Dura. Chief Executive Officer of the Dominica Hospital Authority, Dr. Kenneth Darrow, has called for compassion among practitioners in the primary healthcare system. His comments came during a health symposium and award ceremony at the Dominica China Friendship Auditorium this morning to mark Primary Healthcare Week held in honor of the late Dr. Carisia Etienne.
Primary healthcare demands more than just competence. It demands more than just being a good doctor. It demands more than just having the knowledge. It demands compassion. It demands patience. And above all, it demands a genuine love for people. Because without that love, the long days become longer, and the challenges become heavier, and the work loses its meaning. But with it, primary healthcare becomes a calling. This year's theme, a new look to primary healthcare services, fashioned to align with health for all and health in all, is both timely and transformative. It challenges us to reimagine how we deliver care, how we engage communities, and how we position health not merely as a service, but as a shared societal responsibility. Primary healthcare is often described as the first point of contact, but in truth, it must be much more than that. It must be the first line of defense, the engine of prevention, and the foundation of equity in our health system. A new look to primary health care means moving beyond episodic care to continuous, coordinated, and comprehensive services that follow individuals and families across their life course.
Chief Executive Officer of the Dominica Hospital Authority, Dr. Kenneth Darrow. Meantime, former Health Minister Dr. Kenneth Darrow, former coordinator of the HIV/AIDS program, Julie Frampton, and family nurse practitioner Veteline Vigilant were among 15 health practitioners who were honored this morning. Among the awardees were retired nurse practitioner Patsy Thomas, retired nurse midwife Bernadette Rabes Sanders, registered nurse midwife Daisy James, public health nurse Veronica Coffey, and community health aide Ernestine Nora Francis for 3 decades of service. In other news, the Dominica Electricity Services Limited, DOMLEC, is reporting an increase in fuel surcharge consumption for the month of April. DOMLEC's General Manager, Dwayne Sinak, says several factors have contributed to the increase. Sinak says this increase is expected to be reflected on the May bill.
Dear valued customers, we'd like to inform you of an increase in the fuel surcharge for April. This charge will appear on your May electricity bill based on your April usage. In March, fuel prices increased sharply as a result of the ongoing conflict in the Middle East. The April surcharge will increase to 50 cents, up from 37 cents in March. While hydro and geothermal reduce the impact of fuel costs, our hydro has been operated at its typical seasonal output. The geothermal plant is in its commissioning phase and was only first started in March. Still, geothermal contributed 6.1% of the total energy consumed in March, while hydro contributed 25.5% to that total. Following the commissioning of the geothermal plant, at least 50% of the monthly energy total will be contributed. We understand that increases like this can be challenging. We encourage you to conserve energy where possible to help manage your electricity bill during this period. Please be assured that we remain committed to increasing the use of renewable energy to help stabilize costs over time.
General Manager of DOMLEC, Dwayne Sinak. 30 participants have begun training under a fully funded tour guide training program. The program, organized by the Discover Dominica Authority, is a collaborative effort between the Ministry of Tourism, the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States, OECS, and the Dominica State College. CEO and Director of Tourism at the Discover Dominica Authority, Marva Williams, says the program aims to enhance service standards across Dominica's tourism sector.
30 individuals are now taking the step towards becoming certified tour guides in Dominica as we roll out our fully funded tour guide training program. Delivered in partnership with the Ministry of Tourism, the OECS, and Dominica State College, and funded by the Caribbean Development Bank through the eSystems project, this initiative is strengthening the quality of experiences across the island. Participants are building real, practical skills in customer service, safety, environmental awareness, and cultural interpretation, all critical to delivering experiences that meet the expectations of today's visitor. We acknowledge the OECS and all partners for their role in making this program possible and in supporting the continued development of Dominica's tourism workforce. To those in the program, please take full advantage of this opportunity. What you gain here directly shapes the experience visitors will carry with them long after they leave Dominica. Successful participants will move on to pursue NICE certification, supporting a higher and more consistent standard of service across the island.
CEO and Director of Tourism at Discover Dominica Authority, Marva Williams. Standard operating procedures for various hazards are being developed for Dominica. Assistant consultant in the Office of Disaster Management and a representative of the Dominica Red Cross Society, Jelena Fountain, says this is among ongoing projects aimed at enhancing Dominica's preparedness. She was a guest on the Disaster New radio program of the Office of Disaster Management on DBS Radio on Tuesday.
Two things that we're still doing related to Tsunami Ready. One is together with ODM and Red Cross and different agencies, local government, fire and police and some others, Ministry of Health. We've been developing standard operating procedures for different hazards. 13 to 15 different hazards that could impact Dominica, natural hazards and man-made ones. So we're in the process of doing that. We've actually had experts from these different agencies come and review all the SOPs. So now we're just editing them so that hopefully ODM can share them with all institutions, public and private. They can attach it or annex it to their disaster risk management plan, because every office, every business, every school should have a disaster risk management plan. But what we found was some of them focus more on hurricanes. So we're giving them all the different hazards, earthquake, everything, so they can append it to what they already have. The last one is that with the Dominica Red Cross, and especially the French Red Cross and so on who are funding it, we are working on a toolkits for children in schools, 8 to 12-year-olds, for them to learn about 7 or 8 natural hazards. So tsunami is one of them. We're going to create tools for the teachers and the students to learn more about the hazards so that the children, their parents, and all the staff can learn more about the different hazards.
Assistant consultant in the Office of Disaster Management and a representative of the Dominica Red Cross Society, Jelena Fountain. Marketing executive for the Caribbean at Discover Dominica Authority, Makira George, says the Jazz and Creole Festival can be seen as an economic driver for the North. The 15th edition of the Jazz and Creole Festival will take place on May 3rd at the Cabarets National Park in Portsmouth from 2 p.m. under the theme Afro Elegance.
This event sits within the Ministry of Tourism's Festivals pillar, where events are used to drive travel, increase visitor spend, and create opportunities for businesses and communities across Dominica. Jazz and Creole continues to do exactly that. It brings visitors into Dominica, drives movement into the north, and creates real economic activity. It supports accommodation providers, transportation operators, vendors, creators, and small businesses, while increasing weekend occupancy and encouraging longer stays. This year, that impact is being shaped through a full weekend experience. We encourage everyone to explore these experiences across Dominica while planning a weekend in the north to take in events in and around Portsmouth.
Marketing executive for the Caribbean at Discover Dominica Authority, Makira George. Meantime, Dominica's Princess of Song, Michael Henderson, says her band is hoping to deliver a soulful jazz repertoire for this year's patrons.
We were there from the inception, so from the very first Jazz and Creole. We've seen the metamorphosis of this spectacular event, and we are exceedingly proud to have been part of the entire change and development of Jazz and Creole. So we're looking forward to delivering a lovely, lively, exciting Creole with a little tint of jazz repertoire for you.
Dominica's Princess of Song, Michael Henderson. That's the national focus, regional and international developments up next.
The DBS Radio, Felix Henderson, Ministry of Education, National Reading Competition, headline sponsored by Dragon Windows, is on Friday, April 17 at the Baroness Patricia Scotland School. Join us for leg 3 of round 1. The schools competing are St. John's Primary, Roosevelt Douglas Primary, Savon Pie Primary School, Dubla Primary, Penville Primary, Baroness Patricia Scotland Primary, Thibault Primary, and the Calibishi Primary School. Join us at the venue or listen on radio. You can also view on the social media platforms of Facebook and YouTube, or watch the event live on Digicel Channel 50. Reading and literature. It's on DBS Radio. Felix Henderson, Ministry of Education, National Reading Competition, headline sponsored by Dragon Windows.
DBS News.
In news from the region, Cuban President Miguel Diaz-Canel said his country will be ready for a possible attack from the United States as U.S. President Donald Trump's attacks against Cuba continues to escalate. Earlier this week, Mr. Trump said his administration could focus on Cuba after the war in Iran ends, with Cuba's crisis deepening as a result of a U.S. energy blockade. Diaz-Canel said he does not want U.S. military aggression to come to Cuba. He said that the country will be prepared to fight back if it happens. And internationally, a 10-day ceasefire agreement between Israel and Lebanon, announced earlier by U.S. President Donald Trump, has just come into force. Lebanese president welcomed the agreement, while Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu called it a historic opportunity for peace. Iran-backed Hezbollah, which says it will abide by the deal with conditions, has continued to exchange strikes with Israel forces in the lead-up to the ceasefire. That's news at the DBS Evening Sports Report. Up next with Ali and Christopher.
Covering the nation and beyond. DBS Sports Report.
The DBS Radio, Felix Henderson, Ministry of Education, National Reading Competition, headline sponsored by Dragon Windows, is on Friday, April 17 at the Baroness Patricia Scotland School. Join us for leg 3 of round 1. The schools competing are St. John's Primary, Roosevelt Douglas Primary, Savon Pie Primary School, Dubla Primary, Penville Primary, Baroness Patricia Scotland Primary, Thibault Primary, and the Calibishi Primary School. Join us at the venue or listen on radio. You can also view on the social media platforms of Facebook and YouTube, or watch the event live on Digicel Channel 50. Reading and literature. It's on DBS Radio. Felix Henderson, Ministry of Education, National Reading Competition, headline sponsored by Dragon Windows.
Good evening and welcome to this evening's Sport Report. I am Ali and Christopher. First up in netball, Dominica are behind as they take on Grenada in the Jean Pierre under 16 netball competition in Trinidad and Tobago. Dominica are 16 goals and Grenada has 23. Dominica behind by some 7 goals against Grenada. Well, I can tell you that at the halfway mark, Dominica trailed by just 2 points. At that time, the scores were 12-14 at halftime, and it was 14-18 heading into the final quarter. Dominica now scoring another goal, so it's now 17-23. So Dominica 17 goals, Grenada 23. Staying with netball, Dominica also secured a 4th place finish in today's shooting competition at the Jean Pierre under 16 netball tournament in Trinidad and Tobago, competing against some of the best of the region's young talent. The Dominican side tallied 78 points, finishing just behind 3rd place St. Lucia with 87 points and 2nd place Grenada 98 points. The host nation Trinidad and Tobago led the field with a commanding 132 points to take the top spot. Barbados finished just 1 point behind Dominica on 77 in 5th place. The results also puts Dominica ahead of the Cayman Islands, who had 59 points, and Antigua 52 points. The Dominican shooters were Chrissia Pierre with a score of 31, Jacolia Benjamin had 30, and Adhari Samuel got 17. The Dominica Amateur Basketball Association is set to officially launch its 2026 national basketball season. The 2026 season will get underway on Saturday, April 18, 2026 at the Massac Indoor Sports Complex. That will begin from 6 p.m. President of the Dominica Amateur Basketball Association, Donnie Robinson, says the evening will celebrate the achievements of the 2025 season with an official prize-giving ceremony recognizing outstanding teams, players, and contributors to the sport.
Well, we're going to have the traditional, the league champions and the runners-up for both divisions. So that's the monetary prize and the trophy and medals. The first division winning team gets $2,000. The premier teams gets $3,000. The second place gets $1,500 and $2,000 respectively. And the female gets $1,000, I think, or $500. We have the league MVP for both divisions as well, and including the female. We'll have the highest scorers from each division as well. The most outstanding young player or the most promising young players, both male and female. And then we'll recognize the coaches and have some special awards for the couple officials and for 1 or 2 people that have contributed towards basketball in the past. We try to recognize 1 or 2 of them, and then and also have some special awards for discipline and those things. So, like you said, I can't disclose it tonight. The decision's already been made, but these are the awards that's on the table. The good thing about that is all the prize monies and everything is available and ready, which is always a big thing. We know the history of how it is in our basketball sport. But this year it's commendable to see. A little disappointing that it's happening a little late, but this season ran pretty long last year. There's a lot more basketball last year. But yeah, this weekend we're going to reward the performance from last year.
President of the Dominica Amateur Basketball Association, Donnie Robinson. The opening of the 2026 season will also cap off with an under-23 3x3 tournament. Meanwhile, the DABA president says 3x3 basketball will be a major part of the 2026 season.
Yes, we're going to incorporate a few 3x3 tournaments this year. We're going to have a under 23 one and a national level one, which is the good thing about that one. It's driven from regionally this tournament, so we will get good assistance just to participate. So that's good. We will have a local national 3x3 tournament. We will also have a female 3x3 tournament, and we are hoping to have a business league 3x3 tournament. And if we can incorporate a schools tournament. And I know a lot of people are not everybody is sold on 3x3, but 3x3 is an Olympic sport now, and we have to understand their qualifiers. You have to put up a certain amount of events for you to even be invited to the qualifiers, and we have to, if we want to expose our players, it's another avenue. It's unfortunately it's a cheaper avenue. You have 5 people traveling as opposed to 17 on a national team, so there are some challenges with it. Obviously, it changes the whole dynamics of basketball itself that you know traditionally, but think about it, if T20 didn't come around at some point, it would never be where it is today.
President of the Dominica Amateur Basketball Association, Donnie Robinson. The race for the Winlot Inc. Windward's Under-19 Championship is finally poised, with St. Lucia and Dominica locked on 6 points each after 4 rounds of play. St. Lucia currently sit at the top of the standings, holding the edge on net run rate, while Dominica are close behind with a net run rate of 0.522. With 2 rounds remaining and a crucial head-to-head clash between the two sides still to come, the matchup could well decide the championship. A win for either team would put them in a commanding position, effectively placing one hand on the trophy. The last time the two sides met, St. Lucia got the better of Dominica by 89 runs. Further down the table, Grenada and St. Vincent and the Grenadines have 2 points each. Today was a rest day in the competition, and action continues tomorrow. Also, action resumes in the National Bank of Dominica Sports Division Primary Schools football competition this Friday following the Easter break, with the Development Division moving into semi-final stage in Newtown. In the opening semi-final at 1 p.m., Grand Fond Primary will face Soufriere Primary School for a place in the final. That will be followed by the second semi-final at 2 p.m., where the Wesley Primary School will go up against a combined Trafalgar, Mount Prosper, and Wharton Wiven team. The losing teams from the two semi-finals will return to the field at 3 p.m. to contest the third place playoff. Winners of the semi-finals will advance to the Development Division final, scheduled for Thursday, April 23rd, also in Newtown. Meanwhile, the competition will continue to build momentum next week, with the semi-finals in both the girls division and boys division, that's Division 1, set to take center stage. Still with football, head coach of the Point Michel Football Club, Herskel Gregoire, says preparations for the 2026 DFA Premier League season has not gone to plan. He says there are major challenges hindering full preparations for the Point Michel club. Point Michel finished 8th in the 2025-2026 DFA Premier League season with 14 points.
Yeah, in terms of preparations and readiness, it has not gone as expected or as well as we wanted it to go. Like we have some major challenges ourselves as a club. We probably the only Premier League team that doesn't have lights at the training ground, so that is a major challenge for us. And other major challenge we have is the turnout of our player turnout. It has been rather poor, I would say, not as we wanted it to be. There are days where we get good numbers, other days where it's just poor. And I think that is something we need to work on and look at it. But I don't think we are the only ones suffering from that challenge here. I think every team in the league goes through that same issue. And another challenge we've had is injuries to start off the season. We had a few players injured, so that kind of hindered our progress too. When you talk about focus, our focus has been mainly fitness and team chemistry. We have been working on that for the past time, getting somewhere progressing. Like I said, not as fast as or as well as we want to, but we're getting there slowly but surely. We've had a few preseason games so far, 3, and we have seen progression over the past 3 games, but not as well as we wanted, but we're getting there. Like our last game, we played a lot better. I think the team did much better in terms of possession and everything else. Yeah, so I can say we progressing slowly.
Head coach of the Point Michel Football Club, Herskel Gregoire. Gregoire says despite the challenges in the off-season, his team still stands a good chance of finishing in the top half of the league.
Like you said, the Prem is very competitive and it's wrongly bent, it's right honest. And honestly, I feel we have a good chance of finishing in the top half, especially after we made a few additions to key areas we were struggling in last season. We brought in a few players for the transfer window, probably about 4 or 5 players we brought in over the last transfer window. So that, in its sense, will help us a lot more with our goals for this coming season.
And that is the head coach of the Point Michel Football Club, Herskel Gregoire. Also, I can tell you that Dominica has just lost to Grenada 18 goals to 29 in the Gin Pair Under-16 netball tournament. Also, Belfast Estate Mausoka Strikers are placing heavy emphasis on discipline, consistency, and mental strength as they gear up for the 2026-2027 DFA Premier League season. The Soka Strikers team, which finished second last season with 37 points, just behind the champions Dublin FC, is looking to build on that solid campaign and go one step further this time around. The head coach, Kenneth Esprit, says maintaining focus for the full duration of matches has been identified as a key area for improvement.
Well, this season we're working on our discipline and consistency. We're trying to stay organized on the field, maintaining our focus for 90 minutes, 120 minutes, and avoiding any lapses. So that's one area we're looking at. We're working on our fitness and preparation, being able to close the gap or readiness by maximizing every training session between now and the 24th. We also working on our cohesiveness, right? To develop a nice rhythm among ourselves, to get players who are the new players that we did some signings, get them integrated into our system quickly, and building chemistry among our players. And one of the most important things that I feel that that is essential to us going into this new season is the mental strength and the mental awareness that we need to embrace the tough competition. We need to embrace the oppositions for who they are, respect them for who they are, and take every opportunity to prove ourselves and not to have any setback. And essentially the execution of key moments, turning half chances into goals and staying composed under pressure and being able to execute our game plan with good executional attributes and so forth. So these are areas that we're looking to build on.
Head coach of the Belfast Estate Mahosoka Strikers, Kenneth Esprit, he also acknowledged that the new Premier League campaign will be a tough one. The Soka Strikers head coach also adds that his team is focused on remaining prepared.
This is a season that we have to take seriously this year coming there to prepare for the upcoming campaign, because we know for a fact that this year is going to be tougher than last year. Coming out second, we'll actually have teams thinking that you're one of the elites, and then the challenge ahead will be daunting. But we are doing our best trying to prepare for the upseason. A lot of positive come from last year, indeed. So I have no doubt that those players that we added to the team will add value to us. And what I can tell you is that we are doing our best to be prepared for whatever that is thrown at us, and to take every opportunity, right, to maximize on the half chances that created for us, and to stay composed in all aspects of the game, even when we are down, right, to stay composed and play the game the way that we know it should be played.
Head coach of the Belfast Estate Mahosoka Strikers, Kenneth Esprit. Well, that will be a wrap on this evening's Sport Report. I've been the presenter of this evening's Sport Report, Alian Christopher, on behalf of the News and Sports Department, and our links person, Joseph Fadul. I'm saying good evening.
The DBS Radio, Felix Henderson, Ministry of Education, National Reading Competition, headline sponsored by Dragon Windows, is on Friday, April 17 at the Baroness Patricia Scotland School. Join us for leg 3 of round 1. The schools competing are St. John's Primary, Roosevelt Douglas Primary, Savon Pie Primary School, Dubla Primary, Penville Primary, Baroness Patricia Scotland Primary, Thibault Primary, and the Calibishi Primary School. Join us at the venue or listen on radio. You can also view on the social media platforms of Facebook and YouTube, or watch the event live on Digicel Channel 50. Reading and literature. It's on DBS Radio. Felix Henderson, Ministry of Education.